Welcome back, Firewood Addicts, to another podcast. I know it's been a while, but season 2 is still on. As a good guest today, I'm going to say hi.
Hello, Travis.
And who do we have here today, folks?
So we are, I'm Steve, and I'm the father of Tyson here. And we have a YouTube channel in Australia called Aussie Bucking, who mainly is about chainsaws, but we do have a split and we do firewood, and we do sell firewood, and we've got our own YouTube channel. We hard to believe, Travis, but we are the biggest YouTubers in Australia. We've only got a population, I think, 28 million people, not very many for a big country, but we are the biggest in Australia. We had to check it out by Google, and they told us we were. So I can't argue with that.
Very cool. I did not know that. Awesome. So the podcast is now gone international. I don't think I did. Wait, I did. I had Canada once or twice, but now we're going further out international. So that's cool. That's cool.
You've gone to the Pacific Ocean now.
Yeah, there we go. Right, yeah, dig it. So can you briefly give me a history on how you got into firewood?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So how we got into firewood was we moved to a new area from a long way away, 1,000 kilometres thereabouts from central Queensland. It's called. So it's in the outback. You could say we say outback of Australia or in Queensland, and we moved down to a colder area. And we put an old house up. This is an old house, 1950s house. We moved up here on the block. We brought 120 acres, and we went one winter without any fire or any heating.
Any heating at all?
Any heating, yeah, Tyson, no. And it was a bit of a struggle. So we get some fairly cold temperatures here, down to zeros, that sort of thing, and we get like probably 3 months, 4 months, probably 5 months, just about
5 months. Yeah,
5 months of pretty cool weather. So from 28 degrees during the day down to sort of zeros. You know what I mean? So that's the sort of temperatures we get. So, but we brought a wood heater for the house. So I've always had a little chainsaw all that time, and so we started cutting timber for the firewood for the heater to keep us warm, Travis, rightio? So, but Tyson had just come out of school, or we took him out of school a bit early, I'm going to say. There was a few problems there. So he decided, he said, I like chainsaws, Dad. So we'll just cut together, and here's my little chainsaw. Then
we both buy like saws.
Yeah, but Tyson brought a little still.
And then a Tanaka.
Yeah, a little Tanaka, yeah, for like cheap. But he bought a brand new still. That was the first chainsaw you got. What size was it, Tyson?
Oh, 40 cc.
40 cc. What number was it?
Oh,
what is it?
I haven't looked at the thing forever.
It doesn't matter, but what size is it? MS what?
MS.
180?
No, bigger than the 180.
Yeah, right, yeah. But it doesn't matter anyway, Travis. But he brought that. So we started cutting a bit of timber. And then he had a mate come up who had a bigger saw.
Yeah,
and then
066.
066, which is quite a big saw. And the two boys were cutting together. And I said, I might just record this. This is unbelievable, seeing two young fellas having a go in the bush, rightio, cutting bloody firewood. So I recorded a bit of it. Then I did a little thing of my own. A little segment of my own of on my 55, a little Husqvarna 55, which is quite popular, little saw from back in the like the 80s and 90s.
No, more like early 2000s, 90s, late 90s.
No, is it in the the 90s? Yeah, sorry, I'm talking too far back. Yes, I'm old, Travis, so a bit dementia setting in. But Tyson knows more about chainsaws and timelines for chainsaws than I do. He studies them more than I do. I just know how to use them, okay-ish. But so I recorded it, and Tyson said, I think he said, hey, we can put this on YouTube.
Yeah.
Is that about right, Tyson?
So I made a new channel, and then we put it on, and it got like a couple hundred views in the first month of it being up. Mm-hmm. And then we just kept on posting, and it got bigger from that.
And with the 55, because they're such a legendary little chainsaw, it's still growing today, but very slow. I mean, it's got 25,000 views, and it was very average. Sort of a little tiny time I spent with it, built myself with trying to hold one hand like that and the camera like that, Travis, like raw as anything. But it worked. You know what I mean? So the next weekend, so right, try another one.
Yeah.
So we just keep putting them out, and Tyson enjoyed that part. And we still got to make firewood for the to keep warm through that winter. And we probably did, I don't know what we did, Tyson. We were just doing them slightly regularly. You know what I mean? Probably one every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, whatever. Thought about it.
Probably 3 weeks.
Yeah,
averaging.
Yep, and it just a slow steps, and then I worked out we were doing a lot of firewood, and I brought a log splitter, and then we had a big pile of it there, and I asked Anchor, his mother, my partner, to put it out on marketplace to put for sales for any firewood. So that's how we started with firewood. Actually, these bloody cars and utes and trailers are rocking up, and I bought an excavator too, as you can see in the videos, and a little tractor, which helps with to no end, to handle big timber and pull trees down, and we're cleaning up certain areas for fire breaks, blah, blah, blah. So we're using that timber. We need to make money if we can, so we are. But over the last sort of, how long have we been going for time with YouTube? Nearly 3 years?
Oh, just under 2, I think.
Just under 2?
Yeah.
So we just got our 2,000 subscriber last weekend. So always the first part of the, that's what good day, Travis. It's a fairly good achievement. Because
for chainsaw stuff, it's pretty good.
Yeah, especially in Australia where we've got low population. It's easier when you've got a big population like yours is 330 million people live there. We got 28 or 29, whatever we got. So it's a fair achievement. But Tyson, where was I getting to with that part of it?
How much money we sold? How much firewood we sold?
Yeah, we sold like good firewood in no time. We were able to buy a few more chainsaws and do this and do that to us. It just loosened, instead of our work money and the business money, we had this little bit of loose change there for our channel. But since then, since we've got the equipment, our ratings have gone up and up, and we're getting bigger and bigger.
Better saws.
Yeah, better saws, more interest. And now we've got people contacting like you, but also we've got people contacting. We've got a guy coming out on the weekend who is a subscriber from about an hour and a half away from us, and he's going to wants to cut firewood. And I said, "Come up here. There's all the firewood in the world to cut up here." So he's got a 372 and wants to run it because these guys from the city are close to us. We're only sort of an hour away from Brisbane, which is quite a big populated area. So these guys have got saws and love cutting, but they've been stuck in a city, see? So they want to come out and use their saws and just cut timber with us. So that's probably how we started off, Travis.
That sounds kind of like a tourism thing where people from the city can come out and cut firewood for a day or half an hour or whatever it is. Or yeah, I think that'd be kind of fun.
It's crazy, yeah.
Interesting. Thank you for that history. So as you're talking, I know maybe not a lot of us are familiar with Australia. Can you give us maybe a little bit? What would you call your cold season, or when would be your winter season?
So we go from probably March, April, is starting getting into winter. So we go from March, April, May, June. We go autumn, winter. So now it's September now. September 2nd, is it something like that?
September
1st or 2nd?
3rd.
Doesn't matter. And so we're getting into our spring now. But it will stay cold even this. Normally, you get little tiny hot spells come through. But we've still got the fire on right now, tonight. Just to keep the house warmed up. It's an old house, so it needs to have that constant timber through it. But we would probably, so right now we're in our end of our winter now, Travis. Like you're just going into another season now, aren't you, right now? You should be?
Yeah. Yeah,
fall, yeah. So that's where we're at. But our summers can last a fair while. They're from, I think, November, December, January. And then we fall into autumn then. So, yeah, that's how I think it works. Yeah. Oh, we should know, but yeah. When you live with it, You just do it. You know what I mean?
I hear you. And then, so you mentioned 0 degrees Celsius. Is that the coldest it gets to where you're at?
It can get colder, but not in this area. We're too close to the coast. So we're only probably like I can have my fishing boat, little tiny fishing boat, in the water, and we're right in an hour from here. So it's not that far away. So it's probably only, as a crow flies, as Australians say, it probably only take like 20, 30 minutes to get there. You know, if you have a good run. But 40
That
minutes.
makes sense.
Tyson, eh?
Yeah, 40 minutes.
Yeah. So it's not that far away, so it keeps it warmer getting against the coast. But as you go inland more, it gets colder and colder. Yeah. Towards the west.
It's odd how the coast keeps you warm, right? How about? But do you get any snow?
No, we don't get any snow. No, Queensland
No snow.
is it's called the Sunshine State. So it is sort of normally is the sunniest sort of state. And then you get Northern Territory up there, that they're sort of more humid weather up there, that they're above the equator. And so it's fairly humid and hot and stays at 32 degrees Celsius most of the year, all year round. But we are below the equator line, or the Tropic of Cancer, it's called. Tropic of Capricorn, sorry.
Capricorn.
But I used to live out west, and it was on the line too. So it was like 40 degrees in summertime most of the times, Celsius. It can get to 50 degrees also out there. But our nights can stay easy out there on hot changes. We can stay 30 degrees plus on nighttime also out there, Celsius, like very hot. But as you go further south in Australia, it gets cooler and cooler. If you go the next state down, which is New South Wales, they have snow there up in the mountains, and then you go to Victoria is further down, and there's snow up there.
Interesting.
You have to drive a day to see the snow when it does, but there is places around here when we get cold spells, you can just jump on the border at Stanthorpe, those sorts of places where are high up. It snows there sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. I did not know that. Cool. So when you say numbers like that, I react because I used to live in Africa where Celsius is obviously common, and so I can gauge in my mind how hot that is. And I'll put Fahrenheit for the people who do Fahrenheit when I'm doing edits. But I remember laying in my mud hut in West Africa, and it was like 45, 50, and I just, for me, having no power and no running water, then you can't do anything. You just lay down in the AC in the cooler for several hours until then you can move because it's just too hot.
Too hot.
And
it'll kill you.
Yeah.
It'll knock you around.
Literally.
Yeah, it can kill you. So if you try to work in that sort of temperatures, your nose starts bleeding. But I've been around working in the temperatures, guys start vomiting and have heat strokes from it. So it does get terribly bad. But when it gets like that, you just got to go home early and get the air conditioning cooled out and go back late in the afternoon and start again. You know what I mean? To do your work when it gets like that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good to know. I agree. It's good to know what's going to happen in terms of weather-wise, and to know your body and to hydrate.
That's right.
Period. Yeah.
But
I'm curious.
Sorry, Travis.
Go ahead.
Australia,
Please go ahead.
You can drink 2 gallons of water easy in summertime trying to hydrate. So electrodes is what we electrolytes is what we use, not electrodes. That's bloody different power. So electrolytes is what you need to have to keep you sustain it. It's not water can't do the job for you. Yeah,
big time. Ooh. So when you're cutting to prepare for the fall and winter time or your cold season, what is the main wood that you want to cut to burn, or the wood that you have more prevalent in your area that is either already down or you want to get rid of it or whatever, or what is the main type of wood that people want to burn there?
Everyone wants iron bark, so it's a hard timber here. They all seem to like iron bark. It's one of the hotter ones. But the gums, the eucalyptus, the red gums, such, and we got so much different types of eucalyptus trees that I don't even know a fraction of them, Travis. You know what I mean? I can't look at one tree and say it's another. I haven't studied them. You know what I mean? We don't do firewood for a living, but we know that all our timber that we cut down and stringy bark, we do stringy bark because we've got a lot of it. It's real mongrel with a chainsaw to cut because it wants to block your chain up all the time.
It's got a thick fibrous bark.
Yeah, it's tough going, but it burns very nice. It burns hot and it burns clean. But they were the three: gum, Tyson, stringy bark, and iron bark.
And then some box.
Yeah, we got some big box trees too. We call now. I've got a neighbour of mine who is right into trees. He can tell you all the technical terms for those trees, but we can't, Travis. Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I knew my tree species here more too. I mean, the one or two that are obvious to me, but to go to a certain tree and say that's this tree and that's that species, like I don't have that knack to me as well. Yeah, same here. No worries. So in terms of collecting firewood or to cut down trees, is there a permit that you need to have in your area, or are you cutting on your own property, or how's that process going?
Yeah, so we cut on our own property. We haven't. We're actually going this Saturday with the guy from our channel, or a subscriber from our channel. He's going to cut with us, but at a property, and he's actually going to pay us to cut it all up for him. You know, he's got the excavator with a thumb, so we just stand there and buck all this timber up for him and get paid for it. But that's the first time we've done that, Tyson.
Yeah.
But we cut all our own timber here. But there is areas where we do have to be very careful because it's got in a koala zone. You know our koalas. Yep. So there's what's called red zones that we can't just go in there willy nilly and just cut anything out. You know what I mean? You have to be very selective what you do, and so there is areas there that you can't do. We back onto a national park. What's called the Belthorpe National Park. So we got deer here, but years ago we had a big fire through here before we got here. I think about 8 years ago, something like that.
I think it was 2013 or something like that.
So, but it killed all the koalas out from the area. We haven't seen one here in like the 4 years we've been here, Travis. Burns them out.
That's scary. That's too bad.
Yeah.
When you mentioned eucalyptus, I know that the leaves are poisonous, but to cut it down and burn it is fine. You're saying?
Yeah, but the leaves aren't poisonous. But in a fire, because they've got an oil in them, when they start getting hot up above the on top of the trees, when the fire gets going, it just ignites like with the fuel up there of the oil, and it just goes crazy hot. So and it just like it's amazing stuff, but it's not poisonous to us. But the koalas eat it.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, interesting. Okay,
there's nothing to do with the leaves that's poisonous. So to us, you know what I mean. The timber is fantastic timber, but you've got eucalyptus. I've been to your country, and there's a lot of eucalyptus there. They used it in the old days to make all the railway sleepers. So they introduced it from Australia to your country. Actually for sleepers back in the day.
Interesting. I did not know that. Huh.
That's a fact, yeah.
There's the fact. There you go.
Fact,
Right on. So watching YouTube in Australia and then watching other channels, say in Canada and maybe in the US, what is there any differences of how you all cut, how we all cut, or is it pretty much the same in terms of usage, tools, and techniques? I'm curious.
Tyson will have a say.
I think it's very similar. It's just a common practice, I reckon, of just the same thing. That's all I can really say about it.
But our timbers are a lot harder than yours, Travis. They're seriously hard.
That's really the only difference is the timbers.
Yeah, so you know you'd have to have a very sharp chainsaw. They go dull quick, so there's a lot of sharpening involved. You have to have bigger CCs to get through it. But we'd have some of the hardest timber in the world. A lot of countries would dispute that, but it's fairly factual that I think our hardest timber comes from Tasmania, Tyson, isn't it?
Yes, pretty sure.
Because in our YouTube channel, guys remind us about the Tasmanian is harder than what we've got here. So we're reminded very quickly. Yeah.
I got you. I think if it is one or the other, it's very, very close. I would think in terms of whose firewood or whose trees are harder to cut. Now, to cut up a tree that is that hard with a chainsaw, would that mean in theory that firewood would cost more because you're going through more chains? It would take more time to sharpen your chain, and you require a bigger CC saw, which would mean more money to pay for the saw, and that all equates to a firewood cord or whatever volume of cord or of firewood you're selling would require more money to sell. Would that make sense at all? No?
It does. I don't know. I know I do watch a lot of American channels, and I know thereabouts what you get per quarter. I watched in the Woodyard and a fair bit, and learnt a bit from what is his name now? Chris, isn't it?
Chris,
yeah, Chris, yeah. So, but it varies with timber here too. It varies with pricing, but it all depends on where you are in the area with competition, I do believe. And once it gets scarce, it's sort of, you can make a fair bit more money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the quality changes too. Like a lot of blokes will just have junk, where if you have a real good quality timber, the customers will pay for it. Definitely, they're happy to pay for good quality timber that can just keep burning all night. Travis, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I bet. Mm-hmm. I bet. With it being cold in your area, and then with the abundance of trees, I assume, is it pretty common in your region or in your state for people to burn firewood as a source of heat, or are most people on maybe natural gas, or they have their other heaters that they use?
I would say the most common one is reverse cycle air conditioning. So it's very common here, but the cost of running it in Australia, we got very high power prices here in Australia. It's getting worse and worse. So and people do go back to some of the states actually trying to cut out gas in certain states. Victoria, I want to say straight up, it's the nanny state of Australia. So they're trying to cut out gas, and any new home built from a certain date can't have gas in it. Blah blah blah. So they're trying to turn all the heating off, and rely on energy from power stations, you could say, or it's actually more wind and stuff they're trying to do here. So they're actually, but I think people use a lot of reverse cycle air conditioning, definitely. And the people we talk to, Tyson, when we go to work, we sort of ask them, ask about what they do.
It's like, I reckon, probably 70% of people use air conditioners that we go to, and then 30% use timber.
Yeah.
Or gas.
Yep. So it's not high, but you'll get some beautiful places up here and beautiful areas, and most of them have a fireplace because it's so nice to have a fire going inside your house. It's just something about it, and a lot of people do appreciate that in Australia.
Interesting. I've asked that question or have heard that before on the podcast. There's nothing like wood heat. You can have your wall heater, you can have your reverse AC, you have your gas, but wood heat will permeate into the walls, into the furniture, into everything, and help to keep the enclosure warm. There's just, you can't beat it.
It's just a core heat, you know what I mean? And if it's done right in the house with good quality timber, with a good heater, good quality heater, it can keep the whole house warm.
I agree, for sure.
One central area, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting. Thanks for sharing. That's pretty cool. Right on. So to follow up on that, what you just said, is there a high enough demand for firewood where you could pretty much dictate the price, or is there enough of firewood sellers in your area that there's an average price to sell firewood?
There's definitely an average price. We went on like a pretty standard price based on other people in the area. But
what was selling on marketplace? You get marketplace over there.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
So
Facebook.
just whatever sells on marketplace, and a lot of here they use look, we use trailers and a ute. So it's so much per 6x4 trailer, so much per 8x5 trailer. You know what I mean? So it works that way. If you have big sides, well, you add another $40 to it. You know what I mean? That's how it sort of works here, because it's a pretty loose weight, or a system. You know what I mean? So if you want to get your customers back, you be polite and don't give them too little or unpolite, and you make sure that you get a good volume of timber to them, so that they keep coming back to you. You don't want to lose your customers. You just got to keep them happy. So I'm happy to just give them a bit more timber and keep the quality as good as we can. That's what we try to do, Tyson.
Yeah.
So sometimes we lose out. Sometimes we might gain a little bit. You know what I mean? But it averages out. Travis, we don't really care too much.
It does average out. I agree with you, and I think that there's several channels out there that had the same sentiment of to give a few more sticks of firewood in the truck and the trailer is pennies on the dollar in terms of making sure that you keep your customers happy and that they come back next time and may refer you to other people who they know, because you produce quality firewood and not produce crap, or it's going to be too wet or too short or all that. Yeah, I agree.
Right,
I agree.
So we got one guy particular who does bagging of firewood, and he's been up 4 or 5 times to us and got big loads of us. So, but he'll make his ute will be what he gives us for money as far as bagging, and then his trailer, 5x8 trailer with big sides. That's his profit. And that's how he runs. So we're happy to help him out and service him too. And so that's how a lot of the deals happen.
Right on.
Mm-hmm.
Can you do selling firewood as a side hustle or for like pocket change money, or do you have to register it as a legit business to operate?
Well,
I mean, there's a gray area there, but in terms of like,
if I threw my job in and I was doing it full time, we'd have to register a business to it and pay the taxes, blah blah blah. But when we're only making a bit of pocket money on the side, but it's mainly, I'm going to say it, Travis, it's mainly cash. So it is all cash. We might get a few little gifts like from
some veggies,
veggies to avocados, like but that's the way it works. You know what I mean? So
I got
you. Our government is pretty cruel to us, so we've got to be very careful. They're seriously cruel on our taxing.
Yeah, that's why I ask in terms of like. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We're the second highest tax-paying country in the world. I don't know who is the first, but I heard the other day, and I said, I would believe that, because our government is having a real good go at all of us here with our taxes. So if they see us making any little income at all on the side, they will want a share of it. It's pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't want to get us in trouble, but I think so the question was in terms of of how easy it is to have a side income without it being found in terms of the taxation of it, or are there people around having to make sure that people are make sure that everything is a business, legit, or all that? Anyway, interesting. I gotcha.
It's a funny thing, you know what I mean? We do it just to have a little sideline thing, but and we like helping people out too, Travis. That's the thing too. You know what I mean?
Community.
Yeah, it's good for us. We get to meet nice people, and we help our older generation out too. And I just bought a little trailer with a tipper, so I'm going to do some tipping for the older generation and go out there and help them. So that's what the plan is too in the future.
I appreciate that, and it's interesting you say that is there's something about firewood and the firewood community because you have a commodity that is more or less currency that you
Mm,
could just hoard yourself and burn, but
mm,
you could sell it. And in
mm,
theory, you could give it away for free or
mm,
at at at, at a price point where it's more affordable for people who are more of in need type
mm,
thing, or just to be friendly to someone saying, "Hey, I will deliver this for free because you you may be more in need than other people. I still charge you the fee for the firewood, but I'll help you stack it," type thing. I think that there is a sentiment that is maybe global amongst the firewood community that kindness, helping others, is
for
just
sure.
ingrained in that niche subculture, and I appreciate that about it. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
absolutely. It happens in Australia. It's very obvious too. Also, yeah, there's a connection
Very
in
cool.
the timber industry with firewood for sure. Yeah.
Cool. I There should be more research with that in terms of like the globalness
Yeah,
of
yeah,
firewood,
yeah.
Right on. Um let's segue into something way different. Do you when you're splitting, are you using um a hydraulic splitter? Are you using an axe, a processor? What are you using over there?
But when we first started, Tyson.
We started on viscous axes,
Mm.
just trying to, and then the timber was just way too hard and we couldn't split. It was just bouncing off the timber, so we had to move up and get
Mm. But
hydraulic
that was
splitter.
for ourselves, and once we got our splitter, we had that much of it. It was just accumulates quick, Travis, in a big pile, and that's when
Hmm.
we started selling it on the at marketplace. So that's how it's all hydraulic for us now. We would never throw an axe at it now. It just bounces off our stuff. Even a big viscous maul, it
8-pound maul.
yeah, and swinging at it'll just bounce off it. It's crazy. Well, we've got a 32-ton splitter, and we need every bit of that 32-ton. It groans and carries on. Some of the I spent 2 hours on the splitter today, and some of the stuff just like I don't know if it's going to go through sometimes. You know what I mean? It's only 300 deep, but it just groans at it. It's gnarly stuff,
Jeez,
yeah.
brutal.
And, and
So
I watch you guys. I watch you too, and you just got to poke at it. It's just like, wow! I said, holy hell, that's beautiful. It
yeah,
doesn't
I
happen like
bet.
that here, right? It's savage.
I bet. Yeah, the hardest wood that I put against my first splitter, it will struggle, but it will do it. But I don't think you can compare to what I have here that would be as hard, either green or seasoned, that would be comparable to what you have there for sure. So on that note, when you're at the local hardware store or wherever you would buy an axe or a maul, do the people
Mhm.
there just look at you and kind of laugh to themselves because you're not going to split anything with that axe anytime soon?
Oh, you
So
will
like,
split
why
it.
do you even sell them?
No, you'll still split it, but it'll take some doing.
Yeah,
I think
I
once it's green, it's like pretty some
yeah.
like stringy bark's
Stringy
green.
bark. Yeah, if you get stringy bark like it, and it's old, it's been sitting around for a while, cut, and and if you go through it, because it's actually a straight grain, it's probably our straightest grain we've got in our area, and it'll actually
Mhm.
open up real quickly. If you go back through some of our videos, you'll see Tyson throwing an accident, and we see a friend of ours who's a very fit guy have a go, and it is hilarious, like how hard it can get. But if you actually get the right timber at the right time, it's actually it can be easy, Travis, on the stringy bark. I'm going to say, yeah, but
Okay.
the gum sort of has to be old and been out the bush for a fair while before you can have a go at it with a decent axe.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
It's tough.
Is Pardon?
It's tough timber.
Yeah. I mean, it's always good to throw an axe once in a while. I think I should do more of it, but
Mm,
there is a sort of mental and physical therapy when it comes
yes.
to throwing an axe once in a while. Maybe not for a few days or for the whole day, maybe an hour at most, because it is a
I
workout.
know.
But you do feel good I mean, you're going to be exhausted if you put in a full hour or so of just axe work, but
It's
there's a
yeah.
good feeling to it, right?
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's physical and it's good. You know, I've learned to split. I've learned to throw an axe from a very young age. See, I grew up with a combustion stove in the house when I grew up with my dad and mum, and we used to have the hot water on the combustion stove, and also we did our cooking. And from 0 to 20 when I left, I was always the one to. Once you carry a bit of timber, you carry it upstairs. Two-story house, fill the box up, and so and then when you get big enough, my dad, because I always liked timber, liked splitting it. So he brought me a little kid's axe, and I become the splitter as a kid, and then that was always my job, probably for 15 years as a kid, just to do that. So some people can swing an axe, and some people think they can swing an axe, but you learn it as time goes on how to swing an axe properly. Yeah, so it's
I
a good
gotcha.
thing to
There's
do.
a technique to it. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a
yeah.
technique to it. Absolutely. I taught Tyson how to swing an axe, but he's quite good at swinging an axe already.
Right,
Yeah.
right on, right on.
Mhm.
Let me pivot again real quick. Is there, because since you watch channels here and they're in my end of the world, is
Mhm.
there is there a piece of equipment or pieces of equipment that you see and you think to yourself, gosh, I really want that in my wood yard, but you can't get it yet?
Oh,
I'm
Travis,
curious.
you've got the best splitting machines in the world, you guys, in Canada. And we were in love with the Eastern made stuff. Uh, it is unbelievable, and they are coming to Australia. I watch a guy, Mike Morgan. I don't know if you know him, big YouTuber. He does wood
Yeah.
too, and so he was interviewing, or he come and took a tumbler to Mike's place, and he's coming to Australia. Well, I would love to grab one of those full production machines, even a little one, just to have. It'd be awesome to just you could do it. You could do so much timber with it, it'd be ridiculous. But there's nothing like that. Most of the stuff in Australia is either homemade or otherwise it's just Chinese stuff, you could say. There's only one manufacturer, Australian-made stuff that we know of, which is Super Axe in Victoria, 2,000 kilometres away. So, but we just haven't got that sort of stuff happening here because the low population. See, that's all
Yeah.
to do with how many fireplaces and how much firewood you actually need. But in your country, it gets cold there, and Canada gets cold, and you've got long seasons. You got that 3 or 4 months of bloody snow, whatever you get there, and you need every bit of timber there to split. So that's where all those beautiful machines come from. Your
Yeah,
country,
yeah,
Canada.
for sure, for sure. And I
Eastern
think
mate,
that
Eastern mate.
Europe or Scandinavia definitely has their niche too in terms of processor splitters too. But I think that would be, for example, one of the ultimate tests for Eastern made
Mm,
specifically of how strong are their machines. Can it handle the wood
yeah,
in Australia? Because it's
yeah.
known for one of the hardest firewoods or trees,
Mm.
right? So I think that would be a good test to
Yeah, I
compare.
think about that also. Yeah, and if they do come over, I'd like to meet the owner and just put our timber to it, and I'm sure it would strain because I can see it straining a lot of the times, even in your timber when it's and they want to do like 8-way splits and more splits. You know what I mean? That
Hmm.
just won't happen with our timber. We got one wedge at 32 ton going through, and it strains to go through. So you have to back all that back off again, and just do single cuts on every bloody thing. I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the single wedge is definitely time consuming, but when your wood is that hard, I don't think that it would do justice with it, even with the four way. It just have the single way and
Ah,
just call it good from there. Um,
you hardly ever see 4-way ones in
Nah,
Australia, Tyson, do you?
never.
Hardly ever. Yep, and you want to just you have pine. We have pine trees here too, also, but mainly it's all with forestry. It's plantation stuff. But no one chases that for firewood. They all want the hardwood. So it's never going to work with a light machine in Australia. Eastern Made or any of those companies coming to Australia, they'd have to do their research 100% before they got here with their machines.
That makes sense. Yeah, to just bring something over directly from Canada or the U.S., they have to make some modifications to it.
Right,
somehow. Yeah, that
how
makes
many?
sense.
How big is your ram? Like, how many ton is it on your splitter, Travis?
The Champion is 27 tons, and my new Splitfire from Canada is 7 tons.
7 ton. Yeah.
And nothing against Splitfire, but I've shown that vertical splitter to where it will do it on most stuff, but I have to turn the round. I have to cut at the edges, kind of like what you would like with an axe. At the edges to the middle of. But but recently I've shown a cottonwood where I was able to go to the middle and then work my way around and split it, and that was totally fine. But that's a very unique circumstance in terms of that type of wood. But yeah, I don't think that Splitfire would do anything with wood that you have there. It's just too small a machine. You need to have like a bare minimum of what you have and bigger.
Bare minimum, it'll probably be, depending what timber you're splitting. If you just source like 200 millimeter or 8-inch blocks like to split, you could get away with like a 15 ton or whatever. You know what I mean? But if you're going to throw big stuff at it, like we throw big stuff at ours that you can't lift, excavator and put it on the bench, and it's got to go all the way through. It would sometimes be on 2 inches. It'd be bloody. Some of the ones are 25 to 30 inches round of big hardwood. It works its way through, but it's bloody. It works hard on a single one. Yeah, it hasn't broken it yet.
And it's probably. You probably want to split it with the splitter versus taking the time to noodle it and then putting it on the splitter. I'm not sure which would. I assume it'd be faster with the splitter versus noodling it with the chainsaw.
Yeah, noodling it's hard on the chainsaws, and it's hard. Our timber's that hard. It takes a lot of effort. You better just letting the splitter, the 30 ton or more, just do the work slowly on it. You know what I mean? Split it in half, move it to one side. If you watch our videos, you'll see how it all works, how we've got to do it with our hard timber, and you just got to keep breaking it down. But they will just get these ones here that have been designed for our timber, well and true. Even though it's Chinese made, ours is, but it's been designed in Australia by Australians, then built over there, and then put together here. So this is what's happening. Yeah, with our country.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense in terms of because you can't do more than a one way and having to alter where it will hit on the wood as you're splitting. Yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so you mentioned splitters and processors. What about chainsaws? Are there any makes, models of chainsaws that you see on YouTube here in North America, perhaps, that you can't get locally there?
Tyson knows more of the chainsaws than I do. Knows all the models of both Stills and Husqvarnas. We don't know much about Echoes or Johnson-Raid. Johnson-Raid, Tyson, they call?
Yeah, Johnson.
Yeah, so we don't know any of that. Echoes, we wouldn't want having a big Echo, but the dealerships here are predominantly Husqvarna and Still. You just can't. It's hard to find just a shop that specialises in. They might have a sideline as a Echo, but we go to shops there that have good dealerships and support. Your saws that you're buying or the people. You know what I mean? So, so our biggest. In the States and Canada, they use virtually the same stores that we do. I would say. In Canada, as far as I've seen, I follow a couple of guys there. One is Buchan, Billy Ray, and one is, how do you say, Bjorn Butler?
Bjorn Butler.
Bjorn Butler, I think it's how you say his name. He's a legend, that guy. He could really use a chainsaw. But he uses Husqvarna. They both use Husqvarna. I'm the Husqvarna fan. Tyson's more the still.
I'm in between.
Yeah, he's in between. Yeah, he's just on the fence sort of thing. But
I've
our
seen that
saws
before.
are exactly the same as theirs. Our same size, and we got all the saws that they've got. We own about 30 chainsaws between us, between both of us. I see you've got a selection there too, Travis, but you only need to keep 2 of those ones. I sent a comment to you about that one.
I know. I have. So since the episode, I have sold 4. So I'm
Yeah.
on that the route of having to not have so many. But I think, I don't know, with the hardwood that you have there, to have just a chainsaw ready to go. If one goes dull, put it down and keep cutting, and then later on, then sharpen and fuel and whatever else. I think that having more than needed on your end makes more sense than it would be for me. But
That's right.
yeah,
Coming up on the weekend, we've got big timber coming up and hard timber and old timber been sitting there for years, but it is clean. We'll have 6 chainsaws ready to go, and the smallest one will be 70cc. So we've been throwing 90s at them and 80s at them, but so it'll be 3 guys with 6 chainsaws ready to go, and then an excavator operator just cutting timber for this guy on the weekend. Yeah,
good deal. So then, if you're a mix between the 2 major brands in your area, because you have a dealership close to you, is that what you gravitate to, more or less, or does it matter?
We've got one close to us. We've got a new owner there now, and he's probably a bit more active, probably trying to sell his chainsaws but in certain areas, because they've had dealers for a long time, and they had a still deal here for a very long time. It's a very still area. You know what I mean? They get thick with them. It's like your Chevy, Ford area. Wherever you get the dealerships that the biggest and the strongest dealerships, they'll sell more of them. So, but there is a dealer over at Biwa a little way from us here, probably half an hour or so.
Half an hour.
Yeah, and they've got a still shop and a Husqvarna shop virtually right beside each other. But there's all depends on who's running the show is where you go. I will take actually my Husqvarnas to the steel guy because he's got better hands. I'm going to say, you know what I mean, and better knowledge. Yeah, so it's a bit funny, Travis. Yeah, in our little area. Yeah, and I had an old 032, which was my dad's saw, and he passed away, so I inherited it, and it was a good saw, but it's an old saw, and it ran terrible, and I took it to 2 still shops further away from us, different areas. And they said, no, it's buggered. It's completely buggered. You've worn out. You just go and buy a new one. Then I took it to the other guy at Biwa and different hands on it, and it's like brand new with just a tune. It's just crazy stuff, you know what I mean? So yeah, it all depends on who's at the shops a lot of times.
Interesting. I gotcha. It's cool to hear that someone who is at one dealer was willing to work on another brand saw and then solve that issue. That's cool.
Right. Yeah, that's right. It's crazy, isn't it? But the Husqvarna dealer would not believe me there was something wrong with my new saw. So so I said, and I put it out on our YouTube channel. A lot of guys said this. I said, yeah, it could be, buddy, that too. It was a pickup. So in the tank. So and then I took it to this guy who's a still guy, and he said, yes, Steve, it could be that. So let me. I said, you fix it because I don't want to touch it because I want a professional to touch it, and you can put a new filter in. So I've got a big heavy steel one there now, and I haven't had any troubles with it ever again. But my Husky guy would not believe me, which is very disappointing. You'll see it in one of the videos anyway. I did it in the 572, yeah, the Husky, yeah.
Interesting. I think, I could be wrong here, but I think that a lot of dealers here would not touch another brand's saw. This is only for Husqvarna. I don't touch anything else. This is just what I work on. And but to work, I could be wrong. Maybe people in comments can comment down below, but I think here it's only one brand on the shop, and that's it, type thing. Now, other like small shops that work on all saws, they don't really care. But if you're a dealer, at least here, I would say that they're only going to work on that brand. So it's cool that they're willing to, at least maybe in your area, or that one shop is willing to work on other brands, because they know chainsaws, and most chainsaws are pretty much all the same of how they work. Yes, granted, each brand may have their different like knacks or whatever, but interesting to hear. Very cool. Very cool.
It's just the way it works out with some dealers. That's all. If you get on good with the dealer, he'll help you out. If you've got Husqvarna, he's a steel guy. You know, if he's a decent person, he'll try to help you out. Which we have got a local guy like that.
I think it's good to have rapport with dealers, repair shops, anyone that can help you and then help them in return, kind of like a mutual thing. Advice, insight, tips, repairs, etc. Where you can help each other, because one person can't do it all. One person can't know it all, but to have a community around you where you can kind of help each other to get the job done, I think is key.
Yes, that you're right, Travis. Yes, for sure. It's key, right? All right, so your question.
Yes, please hit me.
So whereabouts in the States are you? I've been to the States way back a long time ago. Whereabouts are you? If you don't mind me asking.
I'm in the Seattle area, just north of California. So I'm about an hour and a half drive south of Buck and Billy Ray.
Oh yeah, so you're right at the top of Seattle. Yeah, so he's in Vancouver, on Vancouver Island or something, isn't he? So
yeah, in BC,
which is on the other side of, I think that's east or west. I'm a bit confused about it. I haven't been in the country a long time ago, but it's on the so California is on the east coast. Is that right?
West Coast.
West Coast, rightio. So scoot up to the top north, and you're at the top up there, are you?
Yeah. I'm on the coast near him, and he's an island. But yeah, I'm very, very close to Buchan in terms of proximity.
Right, yeah. So I've been to Vancouver, and I've been to Vancouver Island too. Yeah, so I know the area a little bit. I always get confused between west and south. It's we're the opposite to you, see. And I used to, we were in a bus, and I'd say to the bus drivers, mate, you're going the wrong way. And he goes, no, sir, it's the right way. I said, I'm pretty sure we went that way. No, it's coming that way. It just wrecks you, Travis.
That's funny. Yeah. It's definitely different when you're in a country that will drive on the other side of the road, and the steering wheel is on the other side.
Right, yeah. We jump on the passenger side.
Yeah, I've driven in countries on the opposite side. I've driven in countries where the vehicle was on how I drive on the road, the steering wheel, but yet the other lane before, in terms of the import of the car, it takes a minute to get used to, for sure. Yeah.
I've driven in Germany. I've driven in the States. I've driven in Canada, little hire cars, and it takes a while. When you're turning corners, you just go. I said, "Well, what am I doing here?" You got to think for a second. Like, weird as. Yeah.
It's different for sure. I've been there. I mean, he's older than I am, but I mean, he's swinging an axe and having a chainsaw head on his arms for years. And if I did firewood full time or logging full time, it definitely have the body to show. But since I don't do firewood full time, you all don't do firewood full time, it's a healthy hobby for sure, and it will help your body and mind stay young, but definitely not going to be ripped like he is, for sure.
No, that's right, mate. Yeah. He's in big chainsaws all day, and he loves swinging an axe, so that would help him out a lot.
Yeah. I would love to send him down to where you live and have him swing an axe on your firewood down there. I mean, that would be a test for his heads.
Yeah. Well, we say on your channel a fair bit, Buchan wouldn't get this one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you know it. Exactly.
And no matter how good his axes are too, they would not make a difference to it. They're just too hard.
Yep.
Yeah.
it would just shoot through chains like nothing. So forgive me for being ignorant on this question, but are you, in terms of how you measure a cord here, and is that similar to what you sell firewood down there as well as, and or the length of the cut? And then, so you're not using inches, obviously, but in terms of how long it is that similar to what we use here in the U.S. and Canada?
Well, we for our length, I like to have, we all, since I was a kid, and my dad taught me, it's sort of around about 12 inches, which is 300 millimeters. So that's what sort of timber length we like here, because it's easy to pick up. Our timber is very heavy, so it's not light at all. So it has to be a little bit shorter, maybe. And what was the other question, Travis? What was the other one, Tyson?
Cords.
Cords. So ours is about 3.5 cubic meters. We talk. We're metric here, and you know the IBCs, like you've got them too, and that's how we talk mainly. So, and there's about 3.5 cubic meters in a cord, thereabouts, much as we know. Someone in the comments will tell us. Sure.
I'll do the math and put it on their channel of what that is in terms of like meters versus feet. But interesting. Okay, it's cool to know like how it's being sold and done in different parts of the world, for sure.
Yes, yeah, but it's just hard, inconvenient to use IBCs to cart timber around, unload and blah blah blah. If you're equipped up for it in some way to get them off and on, like Mike Morgan does, he's got the right gear for all that sort of stuff. But for us, it's just trailers in, trailers out. That's how we operate. And thereabouts, we know sort of thereabouts what it is. And the guys who come in, I always ask them. So first time here, how much did the last guy charge you? And that's how I work it too. See. So I said, that's no worries. I'll do it. I'm happy with that. You know what I mean? And sometimes that they said, oh, Steve, you're a bit cheap. And I said, well, I'm happy to have that. You know what I mean? They says, oh, you're $50 short. You know what I mean? I paid $250 for this little trailer last time. Blah, blah, blah. Huh. So, it varies a little bit. Timber is a funny thing to weigh, funny thing in volume. You know what I mean? Yeah, it just all depends how it is.
I mean, so for us, I think it would make sense to do like your own research of what other sellers are selling a cord of firewood, and if it would be green or seasoned, what type of species, all that matters. But if it fluctuates that much, then how can you find a price that would be consistent or competitive with your competitors and make sure that you're not going to rip off your customers or to have it be, I don't know, too low where you make a margin of profit and worth your time? Is that all a factor on your end too?
It does happen, but it hasn't happened to us. I generally ask them, what did it cost you last time? They're always open with me and say, this is what it normally costs. Yep, no worries at all. I'm happy with that. And it's fairly loose, you know what I mean? Travis, it's not a science too much here, you know what I mean? As long as they've got enough firewood to keep them happy, and that's sort of, they're happy, you know what I mean?
I think that's a good philosophy to not be as hard line or hard nose on the price, that there is some flexibility in it, because it's I mean, for a lot of us too, it's a cash industry, and you want to maintain your customer base and provide them a quality product, but to not be like, no, this is going to be X amount of money, delivery fee is this, and if we're going to pay that, then I'll move on to the next customer. I mean, to have some, it's not all rigid. I agree.
That's right. If I used to be a farmer for 20 years, a grain farmer, and it was all sold in tons, and it had to be perfect to the ton, you know what I mean, to get your money. But with firewood, it's a lot looser, I'm going to say. There's not much science.
I think as long as the producer is happy and the consumer, the customer on the other end is happy, I think that both parties can agree that that's fine, and then you move on.
That's right. Yeah.
Very cool. I agree. Yeah. On the note of the totes, in my area specifically, they're hard to find, or I can find them, but they're gonna be expensive, and I don't know why. but other channels across the U.S. at least, and maybe into Canada, the totes, you can find them for free and they're in abundance. You see whole loads of trailers full of totes, and the guy got them for free or for $5 a piece. I don't understand it. In your area, can you find IBC toast in abundance, or are they scarce? I'm curious.
In abundance, Travis. It's ridiculous.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, some guys just in backyard guys have got thousands of them. You know what I mean? And that they got whole businesses of it, and they're cheap. They're pretty cheap, and they're such a versatile thing. Well, you know, you can build showers out of them, double them up. You know what I mean? You can make dog kennels out of them. You can do anything you want with them. You know. But I'm
jealous. That's
they're cheap.
Crazy to me. Send some to me. I'm like, I only have like maybe 6, and I don't know what it is. I'm always, when I'm driving, I'm always looking around of who may have one that I can stop by and knock on the door and say, hey, can I buy that from you? I'll give you a few dollars. I don't care the condition. I can't find them.
If you went on Marketplace, you can't find any?
I do. I scour Marketplace, but they're going to be between like $75 to $125 USD, which I'm not going to. Why would you pay that? I don't need. No.
No. What's the price we pay, Tyson?
I think they're like $40, $50 average for like Firewood IBCs is like $50.
$50, yeah, $50 Australian dollars. That is, yeah, way less than what your dollar is.
Yeah. I can do the math there with the editing, but
I'm also a beekeeper. I'm also a beekeeper. I got bees. Yeah, and so I use IBCs for putting honey in, but they are food grade ones, obviously. But even a brand new food grade one is only about $300, isn't it?
Yeah, $300.
It's $300 Australian dollars.
Huh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, thank you for sharing that in terms of totes. I wish I had them here, but I think a lot of us watching can attest to at least the challenge, perhaps, or can say, "Hey, I have a lot of totes. I don't know what the issue is. Like, it is what it is in terms of like where you live, I guess." It's super frustrating. Anyway, I want to give you two the floor, Tyson and Steve. Is there anything you want to share with us from your channel or about Australia, about Firewood on your end that we haven't seen before, perhaps? Go ahead.
We're just in a different world to where you are. If you watch in Australia with YouTubers doing this sort of stuff that we do and you do, you know, we are pretty thin on the ground. But in the States and Canada, there's a lot of it. It's very entertaining for us Aussies to watch it all. But I think it's our channel has probably helped a little bit to grow a society of guys like you, Travis, you know, and all the rest of them out there in your country, or both the two countries, Canada and the United States.
Get another perspective of it from the other side of the world.
Yeah, we think it's great that we've got 22% of Americans watching. Is it 22?
Yeah,
something like that, because they just see what sort of timber we got and how we do it. You know what I mean? And so we just throw the information back and forth. This is what it's like. YouTube is a fantastic thing. You know, we can just. It's a great library. It's just so fantastic to have it. You know, to be able to speak to you tonight or your morning. And just to share with you our information and talk back and forwards, like this is awesome.
Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing. Yeah, maybe we can do it again in the future.
Yes.
But yeah, thank you for coming on, Aussie Bucking, rock and roll. I appreciate it. Yeah, go and check their channel, folks. Just subscribe and watch their content. Good stuff. Interesting stuff, and then different from what at least we see in North America. But definitely. You find some commonalities in it as well, for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, folks, we're going to wrap it up. Go and say goodbye, you two.
Thank you, Travis. And good night. Good morning to you. And good night to us.
Good deal, folks. All right. So that wraps up another episode. Good times. Go check out the channel. Until next time, cheers. Most of mine is in the U.S. and then Canada, UK. I got 0.9 from Australia, which is probably you and Tassie. And yeah. I got 0.4 in Germany. So is 20%, and it's gonna be 1.1 female. Yeah, I think if I had my shirt off and I was doing more axe work, it may be more than that. But I don't think my body could handle that much abuse.
That's right. Well,
axe work.
It's working for Bucking lately. He got his shirt off all the time now.